mutungo ririmo managerial, financial, international accounting.
Same information in one table for convenience. Finance, financial management, maybe financial management too, or investments, international finance. Marketing 1, maybe advertising or marketing 2, international marketing. Management 1, personnel management, international management. And possibly for others, you may include some MIS, or maybe business law, or maybe international law. That's, again, the core. You can extend in different ways up to your choices or up to the goals of the university or the goals of the administration. Let's see what else we have. I should be... okay, that's my last section. Well, I've been teaching both business and economics for about 15 years in 8 different countries, and I've seen a lot of programs fail, or a lot of programs aren't doing very well. A lot of programs are mediocre. Of course, some programs succeed. So what are the typical problems? What really you have to be careful about or watch about? Or what are the common mistakes? Number 1, it's very simple. Weak foundations. They study a lot of business, but they don't know basic accounting. Well, they somehow study accounting but don't learn anything about accounting. Okay? That's the most common mistake. They study accounting to actually pass the exam. They pass the exam and they forgot about it. This is known in education as the toilet flush. You know, it's a toilet, right? You know, what's a flush? Students study, learn. When the exam comes, they pass, they flush, and everything goes down the toilet, and they forget everything. Don't remember anything anymore. Okay? So, weak foundations. They don't understand basic finance. That's very common. They just say, oh, I'm a marketing guy. I don't need to know finance. And that's a very common mistake of thinking, culture, and mentality, especially of an 18 or 19-year-old kid. You know, when you're 30, you say, oh, I should have learned better accounting. I should have learned better finance. So don't underestimate the foundations. That's the first one. The second common mistake, and that's very common, I've seen it everywhere, is many fancy course. Fancy course is a course which sounds very nice, it sounds very modern, it's got a little bit of a contents, but it's not big enough, it's not broad enough. They just teach you a little bit about this and that's it, like promotion strategies, and that's a whole course. Well, that's stuff you study for a week or 2. So instead of let me emphasize, focusing on the foundations in the core, they provide a lot of little courses that only look at a few things. The third one, which I've seen a lot, and I mean a lot, almost everywhere, is few course chapters. They study accounting and they study 5 chapters. Well, 5 chapters is not enough. Studying 5 chapters, you're not going to learn a lot of accounting. You're going to learn some, but it's little. When I was studying at one university and we teach finance, students study 4 chapters in financial management in one semester. And then 4 chapters in the next semester. Well, how far are you going to go? So that financial management 1, 2, 3, and 4. And for 2 years, they study one textbook that has 16 chapters. Well, that's not exactly good education, where a textbook that is taught in 1 or 2 semesters, you spread over 4 semesters. You need to cover, on average, about 10 chapters per semester, whether it's marketing, management, accounting. Good universities will typically cover 15, and bad universities will cover 6 or 7. But teaching or studying 3, 4, 5 chapters is a joke, and that's very common around the world. The next one which I've seen is too many projects. It's like the marketing teacher loves to give students a project, right? So gives them a project, but management teacher also gives them a project. Oh, and the finance teacher gives them a project. And suddenly, every teacher gives them a project and the students are like, I have five projects, and they're doing the project, they copy the projects, and they forgot what they're about, and they forgot that they got to actually sit and learn and understand. So the learning is not very important. It's about make the project, deliver the project. And of course, with the projects come presentations, and students focus on 10-minute presentations. So the whole semester they study to make a 10-minute presentation, all right, on the project instead of learning all the important stuff. So that's actually not fault for the students, that's fault for the teachers and the department in general. That's fault of the organization. Same thing. Heavily weighted projects. Heavily weighted project means the project is 50% of the grade. And again, when it's 50%, do you have similar courses now here? You got a course and half of the grade is on the project. Well, when half the grade is on the project, the students focus on the project and they ignore the other stuff. If you get the project well and you make your presentation, you're going to get most of your grade. You don't have to study the rest. Well, that's a common design problem. Well, it's actually designed to make students pass quickly and easily. And students pass and they get good grades. But they don't learn much. It's not about learning, it's about passing the grades and making it easy for students. Well, easy is not necessarily good. Let me see what else. Yes, same thing. Poor and easy exams. Again, this is mostly fault of the professors. And of course, the last one is everyone's passing. Nobody's failing. If you know that you're not going to fail because we don't fail anybody, the result is you don't study much. Let's see what else because I'm running out of time. Okay. These are very quickly. Maybe you use some, maybe you use many of these. The most common one is called memorizing. You sit and you memorize right before the exam, the night before the exam. You do this. Now, in Thailand, they don't study the night before the exam. They study the morning before the exam. So if the exam is 11 o'clock, they study 9 and 10 o'clock quickly and they come on the exam. You don't learn a lot by memorizing and cramming. Usually whatever you learn by the afternoon, it's all forgotten. Okay. The next one is study from PowerPoint. Very common. Students love PowerPoint and then they just read the PowerPoint and study. You cannot get education from PowerPoint. PowerPoint is not meant for study. PowerPoint is meant for presentation, to make a presentation easier, but you can't study. You can't get an education from PowerPoint. Of course, not reading the textbook. Most students around the world, especially in poor, meaning low quality business programs, they don't read the textbook. Well, if you want to learn, you gotta read. It's simple as that. The only way to learn is with good reading. You need to train your skills to read, to analyze, and all the other things. You're just thinking, oh, if I listen to the lecture, if I take notes. No, you need to read the book. Not enough exercises. This applies mainly for accounting. Accounting needs exercises. For each chapter, you need to solve 5 or 10 problems. Okay, very important. Next one is big group exercises. They give you an exercise and they put 6 people on the group. What happens is one student works and the other one play the phone or chatting or talking or that's a group should be 2 people. At maximum 3. 4 or more is usually 1 or 2 of the students don't really work that much. And that's the same thing as group free writing. Free writing is you get the benefit without doing the work. So For example, the 4 of you work on the same project, and maybe 2 or 3 work hard, and 1 of you don't work hard. Okay. Of course, too much fun, too much party, that's already known, too much internet, too much Facebook, too much chatting, okay? So now I'm asking my students in Thailand, how much time you spend on average on Facebook? 4 hours. Well, when do you study? Well, they don't have much, I don't have a lot of time to study, okay? So, too much fun. And another one. Study for grades only. You study just to get A. Well, that's, you don't need that. Grades is not as important. It's the knowledge, it's understanding the business. And finally, I've seen it a lot. I don't know why, but it's more of an Asian phenomenon as opposed to European or American. Kids go to business because mom and dad think it's a good idea. So, mom and dad want you to study business, you go and study business to make parents happy. Maybe you don't care about business, maybe you like, I don't know, drawing or painting or photography or art or history or something else you like, but you don't go to study what you like, you study what your parents want you to study. So this makes for poor motivation. Students are not motivated. Well, let me try and finish if I can. All right, conclusion. Business study is generally not easy. People think it's easy, but it's not. There are too many business programs everywhere around the world, and the field is competitive. And maybe in Korea there are more than 100 business programs in general. I mean, I know in Thailand there are 100. I know in Taiwan there are 100. So you gotta be good, because if you're not good, someone else will be and will have a job for you. And a lot of times students underestimate reality. Oh, if I just want a little bit of marketing, I'm okay. Well, short answer is you're probably not gonna be okay. So most students fail, meaning they graduate, they didn't learn much, and what they do? They go for a master's degree. Okay? Okay, just waste more time. Next one. Most students, when they graduate, they can't get a job. Meaning, they can't get a good, well-paying job. Yes, they get a job and they become a bartender. They get a job and become a secretary. But again, do you study for 4 years in business to be a secretary? Or to be a bartender? Or to be a waiter? Okay? Or to be a hotel receptionist? And the answer is no, we don't study 4 years for that. But that's what most people do. And I've heard it, and I've been in many countries, the same thing. Oh, there are no jobs, when we graduate. And I heard especially this in Bahrain. They say, oh, there are no jobs, doesn't matter what. And the short answer is no, there are plenty of jobs, but the jobs are only for the skilled people. So it turns out that, especially when I was teaching in Bahrain, but in other places, for the good students, let's say I have a class of 50, maybe 6 or 7 will be top students. These 6 or 7s will already get a good, well-paying job waiting for them, and the others don't have a job at all. In other words, for the good students, there are always good, well-paying jobs. And for the poor students, there's simply no jobs. And I would like to conclude by wishing you good luck in your business education. And we have a little bit of time if you have any questions. Maybe you have some questions. Please don't be shy. Don't worry. If you have any questions or concerns, or you're curious about something, please don't hesitate to ask.
Yes.
What do you think is the most different thing between good student and bad student?
Oh, it's very simple. Good students study regularly, consistently throughout the semester, and the good student reads the textbook and, of course, pays attention. And the bad student they just come to class, they do quickly, they prepare before the exam, and of course, the big difference is what they remember 2 weeks after the exam. 2 weeks after the exam, the good student remembers most of the stuff, and the bad student doesn't. The other big difference is good students try to understand, and bad students just memorize. That's primary difference. More questions? On the back? In this area, I haven't been able to actually spend and look at you. Any questions? No? Yeah, that's very common here, especially in Asia. Students don't ask questions. They just sit quietly. Well, if you got a question, you got to learn to ask. You got to learn to ask questions. You got to learn to be active. You got to learn to be proactive. You got to be curious. Any other questions? Yes, please.
At first, we don't know which thing is the important thing and which is not important thing. So I think memorizing is very important.
No, the short answer is definitely not. We've done this long time ago. Memorization was the way of education of the West 2,000 years ago. We did that 2,000 years ago. We did it for many hundreds of years. And we know that it doesn't work as well, okay? And again, if you don't know what's important, you got two things. First, you think to find out what's important. But if you can't, you ask the professor. That's what the professor's job is. To tell you what is more important and to tell you what is less important. That's what you ask the teacher. Hey, which are the most important things that I need to learn and that I need? Just memorizing is very common but doesn't help you much. You just pass the exam, but next time doesn't help so much. That's a very common distinction between Western students and Eastern students. Again, we've had universities 2,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago. For thousands of years we have this experience and we know what works and what doesn't work. Back in the old days we had a discussion with the dean. Universities in the West were established at the library. Whenever you have a library, you make a university, because university is based on books and is based on reading books. That's how you get education. More questions? You have a third chance. All right, another one. Last questions? No? Okay, well, thank you very much.